Oya is a name that reverberates with the power of the storm, the silence of the grave, and the wisdom of transformation. She is not just a goddess, but a force of nature, commanding respect and reverence. As the Yoruba goddess of storms, cemeteries, and transformation, Oya's presence is both awe-inspiring and profound. She sweeps across the earth like a tempest, leaving transformation in her wake. The wind that howls before a storm, the lightning that splits the sky, and the quiet stillness of the grave are all parts of her domain. Oya represents the intersection of life and death, destruction and creation, chaos and order. But who is Oya really? What does she represent within the vast landscape of Yoruba spirituality? Why is she so powerful and revered across cultures? Oya's significance goes beyond the mythological. She is the goddess of change, guiding souls through both life and death, and acting as a force of profound renewal. Oya's storms are not simply violent, they are transformative, clearing away the old to make way for the new. She is not a goddess of stagnation, rather she embodies the eternal cycles of growth, decay, and rebirth. Oya's power does not lie merely in her control over nature's forces. It is in her ability to change, to transform, and to renew. Her winds reshape the earth. Her lightning sparks the divine. To understand Oya is to understand that change, though often disruptive, is necessary for growth. In this sense, Oya is not just a goddess of destruction, but of rebirth, heralding new possibilities through her storms. Her presence brings both challenge and opportunity, urging us to embrace transformation in all its forms. Now, we must ask, what is the deeper meaning of Oya's power? How does she influence not just the physical world, but the spiritual world as well? What does her role as the goddess of storms and transformation teach us about navigating the storms in our own lives? Oya is one of the most revered and powerful figures in Yoruba mythology, an integral part of the rich spiritual landscape of the Yoruba people. Her origins trace back to the Yoruba culture, where gods and goddesses, known as the Orisha, represent various elements of nature and the universe. Oya's connection to the Orisha pantheon is profound, with her dominion extending over forces of destruction, transformation, and renewal. In Yoruba belief, the Orisha are not distant beings, but dynamic forces who interact directly with humanity, influencing the lives of individuals and the balance of nature. Oya stands among them as a protector, a warrior, and a goddess whose power over storms, wind, and transformation is deeply rooted in the Yoruba understanding of life, death, and rebirth. The story of Oya's birth is as fierce and dramatic as the goddess herself. According to Yoruba mythology, Oya is believed to be the daughter of both wind and river spirits. This dual parentage explains her connection to two elemental forces: the wind, which she controls with the fury of a tempest, and the river, which signifies the flow of life, movement, and change. Oya's dual nature as both a stormbringer and a river spirit reflects her role in both destruction and creation. She has the ability to sweep across the land with the destructive winds that level everything in their path. But she also holds the power to transform those same lands, allowing for new life and growth to emerge from the ashes. Her birth, shrouded in the mists of nature, marks her as a deity who is both creative and destructive, a being who exists at the intersection of life and death. In the Yoruba pantheon, Oya is not just a passive goddess, she is an active force of nature. She is a protector, particularly of those who are vulnerable or marginalized. Oya's protective nature is often associated with her role in guarding the spirits of the ancestors and overseeing the process of death and the afterlife. As the guardian of cemeteries, she protects the souls of the departed, guiding them through the realms of the dead to ensure they find peace. But she is also a warrior, fiercely fighting for those she cares about. In battle, Oya is said to wield a sword or a machete, cutting through obstacles and enemies with precision and strength. She embodies the fierce spirit of a protector who will go to any lengths to defend her people and those who seek her help. Beyond her protective and warrior-like qualities, Oya is also a goddess of transformation. Her ability to bring storms, floods, and winds symbolizes her role in the cyclical process of life. Oya is a bringer of change, shaking the foundations of the old to make way for new growth. Her winds blow through the lives of those who invoke her, stirring up their worlds and bringing the necessary shifts for personal and collective transformation. As a goddess of the elements, she is intimately connected to both the natural world and the unseen realms. Oya's storms are not just physical. They also have a spiritual dimension. Her power touches the lives of those who are undergoing major transitions, guiding them through the difficult yet necessary process of change. Whether it's a storm in the physical world or an emotional storm in the heart, Oya's energy transforms all that it touches. Oya's power extends across the elements, touching both the physical and spiritual realms. In Yoruba cosmology, the elements are deeply intertwined with the gods and goddesses who rule over them. As the goddess of wind, Oya represents the air we breathe, the winds that move through the world, and the unseen forces that drive change. Her connection to water, through her river heritage, speaks to the flow of life, emotions, and the subconscious. Water is both life-giving and destructive, and Oya's control over it symbolizes her ability to cleanse, renew, and transform. Just as the river carves through the land, Oya's influence carves through the lives of those who call upon her, shaping their destinies and guiding them toward their highest potential. Oya's roles as protector, warrior, and force of nature make her a multifaceted and complex figure in the Yoruba pantheon. She embodies both the fierce and nurturing aspects of the divine. She is a goddess who brings both destruction and creation, guarding the spirits of the dead while simultaneously ushering in new beginnings. Her energy is not one of stagnation or complacency, but of movement, transformation, and the ever-changing forces of the natural world. Oya teaches us that change is inevitable, and it is through embracing that change, no matter how fierce, that we can find a renewal and growth. Her legacy continues to inspire those who seek her power and guidance in times of need, whether in battle, in times of transformation, or in moments of spiritual growth. Oya's dominion over storms and natural forces is one of the most awe-inspiring aspects of her power. As the goddess of storms, Oya governs the violent winds, the thunder, and the lightning that often signal dramatic changes in both nature and life. Storms, in Yoruba cosmology, are not just destructive forces, but powerful symbols of transformation. They represent the clearing away of the old, the making space for the new, and the disruption that precedes growth. Oya's storms are not simply chaotic forces, but are purposeful and necessary for the cycles of life. They bring change, shake things up, and push individuals, societies, and the world itself to evolve. Wind, lightning, and thunder are all part of Oya's domain. The wind she controls is not a gentle breeze. It is a powerful, howling force that sweeps across the earth, uprooting anything that stands in its way. This wind symbolizes the force of change that cannot be ignored. It is often said that Oya's winds come suddenly, catching people off guard, much like the transformative events in our lives that seem to arrive without warning. Lightning, another of Oya's elements, symbolizes the sudden flashes of insight and revelation. Just as lightning can light up the dark sky in a split second, Oya's influence can illuminate the path of those seeking change, offering clarity when needed most. Thunder, in her domain, represents the voice of the gods, the rumbling presence of divine power. It is Oya's way of communicating with the world, signaling her arrival and the inevitability of transformation. Oya's connection to the natural world is also deeply tied to the changing seasons. As the goddess of wind and storms, she governs the seasonal shifts that influence life on earth. The cycles of change, whether they are the transition from rain to dry season or the shift from growth to decay, mirror Oya's role in the spiritual and physical realms. In nature, just as seasons change, so too do our lives. Oya teaches that transformation is constant and inevitable. She is the goddess who reminds us that just as the seasons must change, so must we. Her power is a reminder that the process of renewal and growth is always in motion, whether we are ready for it or not. But Oya's power is not limited to the physical world. She also rules over cemeteries and the afterlife, acting as the guardian of spirits and the ancestors. In Yoruba belief, death is not the end, but a transition to another realm. Oya, as the keeper of cemeteries, is responsible for ensuring that the souls of the departed make their way to the spiritual realm. She oversees the ancestors, ensuring that they find peace in the afterlife and that their spirits continue to influence the living. The connection between Oya and the afterlife is crucial in Yoruba spirituality, as it bridges the world of the living with the spiritual world. Through Oya, the deceased remain a presence in the lives of their descendants, guiding, protecting, and sometimes even intervening in times of need. This sacred relationship between Oya and the ancestors emphasizes the cyclical nature of existence, life, death, and rebirth. Oya's dominion over the afterlife is not simply about protection and guidance. It also symbolizes the ongoing process of transformation. The cemetery in Oya's view is not a final resting place, but a space of transition. It is where the old is left behind and the new can emerge. Oya's influence ensures that the process of death is not seen as an ending, but as part of the continuous cycle of transformation. She teaches that death is necessary for rebirth and that every ending paves the way for a new beginning. This powerful message of cyclical change is central to Oya's role as a goddess of transformation. In addition to her role in guiding souls, Oya's association with transformation extends into the lives of the living. Her storms, her winds, and her divine influence can shake people from their complacency, forcing them to face the necessary changes they might otherwise resist. Oya is not just a goddess of nature's elements. She is the catalyst for personal and societal transformation. She challenges individuals to confront their fears, break free from their limitations, and embrace the unknown. This is where Oya's power as a goddess of life, death, and rebirth becomes truly profound. Her influence is felt in moments of personal upheaval, when people face loss, change, or the need to evolve. It is in these moments that Oya's transformative power shines brightest. She is the force that turns the storm into a pathway, the grave into a rebirth, and the chaos into a new life. Oya's power is in essence the embodiment of transformation itself. She teaches that nothing remains static. Change is constant, inevitable, and essential. She is a force that reshapes the world, and she does so with fierce love and protection. Her storms may appear violent, but they clear the paths for renewal. Her winds may seem disruptive, but they carry the seeds of change. And through her dominion over the cemetery, she reminds us that death is not to be feared, but embraced as part of the ongoing cycle of life and transformation. Oya is not just the goddess of storms. She is the goddess of life's inevitable shifts, the one who stands at the crossroads of existence, guiding souls through their most profound transformations. Oya's warrior spirit is one of her defining characteristics, embodying both the fierceness of a protector and the strength of a fighter. Her image in Yoruba mythology is that of a goddess who is not only capable of immense destruction, but also one who fights fiercely for justice, protection, and renewal. Oya's power is often symbolized by her sword or machete, a weapon that she wields with precision, cutting through obstacles and clearing the way for those she guards. Whether in the realm of the living or the spiritual world, Oya's warrior nature ensures that she is always ready to defend, protect, and lead those in need. Her spirit is indomitable, and her dedication to those she watches over is unwavering. She fights for her people and for the natural order, maintaining balance and protecting the vulnerable from harm. Oya's warrior nature is not limited to her role in battle. It is also reflected in the way she guides individuals through personal challenges. She is often called upon during moments of crisis when people are facing life-altering transitions or battles, whether external or internal. Whether it's the metaphorical storms of life or the literal battles in the physical world, Oya's presence is a powerful reminder that strength, courage, and resilience are essential for overcoming adversity. She gives people the strength to face the challenges that come their way and encourages them to stand firm in their power. Her warrior spirit is about more than just force. It's about knowing when to fight, when to yield, and when to embrace the inevitable changes that life brings. Beyond her role as a fierce protector, Oya's connection to the ancestors is also central to her essence. In the Yoruba tradition, ancestors are revered and honored as guiding forces who influence the living. Oya, as the guardian of the afterlife, plays a crucial role in guiding the souls of the departed through the spiritual realm. She is the protector of the ancestors, ensuring they are honored and their wisdom continues to guide the living. Her role in the afterlife is not passive. She actively helps souls make the transition from the physical world to the spirit world, where they can rest and watch over their descendants. Her connection to the ancestors is one of respect and reverence as she bridges the gap between the worlds of the living and the dead. Oya is not just a passive guide for the ancestors, however. She is also an active protector of those who seek her help. She assists the living in navigating the cycles of life, death, and transformation. Her presence is felt during times of upheaval, or when individuals are undergoing significant personal growth. She helps people process loss, face their fears, and embrace the changes that are necessary for spiritual growth. As a goddess of transformation, Oya embodies the eternal cycles of life and death. She reminds us that these cycles are not to be feared, but embraced. She teaches that death is not an end, but rather a part of the ongoing process of transformation, just as the storm that clears the land also makes way for new growth. Her relationship with the living is grounded in her ability to help people navigate the turbulence of life's storms, both literal and metaphorical. Whether it's the end of a chapter in one's life, the loss of a loved one, or the personal struggles that test one's strength, Oya is there to provide guidance and support. She helps people confront the uncertainties that come with life's challenges, showing them that every transformation, no matter how painful, leads to new possibilities and growth. Through her fierce warrior spirit and her deep connection to the ancestors, Oya becomes a source of strength and resilience, helping individuals face their battles with courage and faith. Oya also teaches the importance of balance in navigating the cycles of life, death, and transformation. As a goddess of storms, she reminds us that change is often disruptive and uncomfortable. But it is through that disruption that we find our strength. Her power is not just about destruction. It is about clearing the way for new growth, much like a storm that clears the sky for the sun to shine. Oya's connection to the ancestors emphasizes this cyclical process. Life, death, and rebirth are all interconnected. She helps people understand that transformation is not just an external event, but an internal process that requires us to shed the old and embrace the new. Through this process, Oya helps us become who we are meant to be. Oya's warrior spirit and her connection to the ancestors make her a unique and powerful force in the Yoruba pantheon. She embodies the strength needed to overcome challenges, the wisdom to guide souls through the afterlife, and the resilience to help individuals face the transformative processes of life and death. Her ability to fight for those she loves, protect the sacred, and guide the living and the dead through the inevitable cycles of transformation sets her apart as one of the most revered deities in Yoruba culture. Oya's teachings are timeless. She helps us understand that life's most difficult moments are also the moments that shape us, and that through every storm, there is the potential for rebirth and renewal. Oya's symbolism and iconography are rich with meaning, each element speaking to the depth of her power and her ability to bring about transformation. Among the most recognizable symbols associated with Oya are the winds, whirlwinds, and storms. These elements represent her dominion over the forces of nature, illustrating her ability to stir the world into motion. The wind, in particular, symbolizes both movement and change. It is through the wind that Oya exerts her transformative influence, moving through the lives of those she touches and forcing them to evolve. Whirlwinds, often depicted in artistic representations, are not just chaotic forces. They signify the whirlwind of change that Oya can bring into any situation, disrupting the old to make way for the new. Storms, with their power to cleanse and renew, reflect Oya's role as both a destroyer and a creator, clearing away the old so that growth can begin. The colors associated with Oya, purple and red, also hold significant meaning in her iconography. Purple is the color of royalty, power, and spirituality, symbolizing Oya's exalted status among the Orisha. It represents her regal nature and her dominion over the elements, as well as her deep spiritual connection to the forces that govern the universe. Red, on the other hand, is the color of passion, vitality, and action. It symbolizes Oya's fierce energy and her warrior spirit, the strength that drives her to protect, to fight, and to transform. Together, these colors reflect the dual nature of Oya, both regal and warrior-like, gentle and fierce, calm and stormy. They serve as constant reminders of her ability to wield power and to initiate change, sometimes with quiet dignity and other times with overwhelming force. Oya's iconography is not just ornamental, it holds deep spiritual significance in Yoruba practices. Her symbols are often used in rituals, dances, and prayers, where they act as conduits for invoking her energy. For instance, the imagery of the whirlwind is used in dances to summon Oya's presence, while the color purple might be worn during ceremonies dedicated to her to align oneself with her regal energy. Her symbols and colors are reminders of her transformative influence, and invoking them is a way of inviting her power into one's life. In the spiritual practices of the Yoruba people and the African diaspora, Oya's iconography serves as a tool for connecting with her, for asking for her help in navigating times of upheaval and change, and for aligning with the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. The significance of Oya's symbolism lies in how it reflects her power to initiate transformation. Just as the wind can uproot and carry away, Oya's power moves through the world, shifting the energy around her and forcing change. The storms she commands reflect not just external upheaval, but the internal turmoil that often accompanies transformation. Her iconography reminds us that change, though disruptive, is a necessary force for growth. Oya's power is not one of stagnation. It is one of constant movement, of sweeping away the old and making space for the new. Through her symbols, winds, whirlwinds, storms, and the colors of purple and red, Oya teaches that transformation is inevitable, that it may come with chaos, but it is always for the purpose of renewal. Her iconography speaks to the cycles of life that we must all embrace: destruction, transformation, and rebirth. Oya's influence in contemporary afro-diasporic spirituality is profound, as her worship and symbolism have transcended their roots in Yoruba culture and found new life in communities across the world. The African diaspora, spread across the Americas, the Caribbean, and beyond, has kept Oya's energy alive in spiritual practices such as candomblé, santeria, and voodoo. These afro-diasporic religions, which emerged as a result of the transatlantic slave trade, incorporate elements of Yoruba spirituality alongside other African, indigenous, and Catholic traditions. In these practices, Oya is revered as a powerful Orisha, and her attributes, her fierce protection, her role in transformation, and her association with storms and winds remain central to the spiritual lives of those who seek her guidance. Oya's enduring presence in these communities speaks to her universal appeal as a goddess of change, empowerment, and resilience. The resurgence of Oya's worship in the African diaspora is a testament to the ways in which African spiritual traditions have been preserved, adapted, and revitalized through centuries of displacement and cultural erasure. In recent decades, there has been a renewed interest in African ancestral traditions as people of African descent reconnect with their roots and reclaim their spiritual heritage. Oya, as one of the most revered Orisha, has become a symbol of empowerment, particularly for Black women who see her as a representation of their own strength, resilience, and ability to overcome adversity. Across the diaspora, from Brazil to Cuba to the United States, Oya's image and teachings are celebrated in rituals, festivals, and ceremonies, where her transformative energy is invoked to help individuals navigate life's challenges. Oya's teachings on transformation, change, and embracing the storm are just as relevant today as they were in ancient times. In an era of political, social, and personal upheaval, Oya's wisdom offers profound lessons on how to deal with adversity. Her storms, while chaotic, are not seen as mere destruction. They are opportunities for rebirth and renewal. Oya teaches that change, though often uncomfortable or even painful, is a necessary force for personal and collective growth. Her lessons encourage us to embrace the storm in our own lives, to face challenges head-on, and to trust that, through transformation, we can emerge stronger and more aligned with our true purpose. In a world that often resists change, Oya's teachings offer a radical shift in perspective. She shows us that transformation is not something to fear, but something to welcome. Whether it's in our personal journeys, our relationships, or the larger societal structures that need to be reimagined, Oya's message is clear. Embrace the storm, for it is through the storm that we are shaped. Her relevance today is not just in the rituals and prayers, but in the way she inspires people to stand firm in the face of life's most difficult moments, knowing that the storm will eventually pass and bring with it new opportunities for growth and renewal. Oya's resilience and her deep connection to the forces of nature remind us that, just like the winds, we too have the power to change the direction of our lives and to make a lasting impact on the world around us. Oya's legacy as the goddess of storms, cemeteries, and transformation is as powerful and relevant today as it was in ancient times. She embodies the fierce force of nature, the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and the unstoppable power of change. As both a protector and a warrior, Oya stands as a symbol of strength, resilience, and the courage to face life's most challenging moments. Her storms may disrupt, but they also clear the path for new growth, urging us to embrace the transformations that are essential for personal and collective evolution. Through her symbolism, Oya teaches us that every change, no matter how turbulent, carries within it the seed of renewal. In the modern world, Oya's teachings continue to resonate deeply, especially within afro-diasporic spiritual practices, where her worship is thriving once again. The resurgence of her influence in communities around the globe speaks to her timeless relevance and the powerful connection between the past and the present. Oya's power transcends cultures and borders, offering her wisdom to all who seek transformation, strength, and the courage to embrace life's storms. Her teachings remind us that, like the forces of nature, we too can weather any storm, face the cycles of life with grace, and emerge renewed, stronger, and more aligned with our true purpose. Ultimately, Oya is a reminder that change is not something to fear, but a force to be embraced. Whether through the storms in our personal lives or the larger transformations occurring in society, Oya's wisdom urges us to move forward with the knowledge that every storm brings us closer to our true potential. As we face the inevitable changes in our lives, we can look to Oya as a guide, a fierce protector, and a powerful force of transformation. Her legacy lives on, reminding us to honor the past, embrace the present, and trust in the transformative power of the future.